Representative Jeffrey Elmore with your weekly session update for August 13th. The big action this week in the North Carolina House was the passage of our budget proposal. That process started the beginning of the week, went through the full appropriations committee where we rolled in the salary package and the capital package, and then went through the floor on Wednesday and Thursday. We had a very good vote, a bipartisan vote on the budget. 8 Democrats voted with the Republican majority, and several Republicans were not there, so we had 72 vote for the budget, even with the absences. So a very strong vote for the budget. And what I'm going to go over today with you are a few of the other bills that passed. Also tell you about a neat visit this week to our chamber and also to the Senate chamber. And also go over the highlights of the budget, very upper level, and then the specific things that are in the budget dealing with District 94, Wilkes and Alexander counties. So first, some other bills that were passed this week that I thought were of importance that I would share with you is HB 84, sex offender premises restrictions. This deals with the residential restrictions for sex offenders on the distance that they are in relation to a school or child care center. So it clarifies that, makes it a little stricter. Also, we passed SB 35, which is maximum 4-year age difference to marry under 18 years old. This bill has moved both through the House and the Senate in different ways, trying to target child marriage, because what we have found through just information is many of the human traffickers are using this marriage loophole with our marriage laws to actually traffic young women. This helps clarify child marriage laws to where there is a maximum of a 4-year age difference with folks who are marrying under 18 years old. So basically trying to know that it's a true marriage going together instead of a 55-year-old that is marrying a 14-year-old. SB 301 expands the expunction eligibility. We get a lot of questions at the office about expunging records through the court. This helps clarify that and streamlines it a little bit for the term nonviolent felon. So that helps with that, and that will really help a lot of people be able to get back to work who have done what they're supposed to do, have served their time, and are now wanting to get back into things, and that record is really hurting them. So that's a good thing there. We had a big visit this week in the Speaker's office and also on the House floor from Marcus Smith of SMI and also Dale Earnhardt Jr., a famous NASCAR driver, promoting the motorsports industry in our state, which is huge. We have over 90% of the race teams are based here in North Carolina, and the economic impact of motorsports is gigantic. And we are supporting motorsports in this budget document through some relief money from the American Rescue Plan to help our tracks across the state, from the little ones all the way to the big ones, because we know that they took a real big hit because of COVID. They could not get those fans in the stands. So it was really neat meeting Dale Earnhardt Jr. and talking with him and his passion for racing and also for folks getting into the industry. And I'll talk a little bit more on the big budget numbers with that. With the budget highlights, the budget was huge. Here's a copy of it. This is the top is the money report, and the second is what we call the provisions package. This is the biggest document I've ever dealt with since my time down there, because not only does it involve state money, it's also involving the American Rescue money that was sent down too. So the expenditures in here are the biggest expenditures we've seen in the history of the state, because all of that money is rolled together. But we've kept our growth in the budget under what we call TABOR, which is population growth and inflation growth adjusted. So the growth of the actual state part of the budget is about 3.5%, which fits into TABOR because we are such a fast-growing state. But the other expenditures that are in there really deal with the federal money. So it creates a huge document. So the House Appropriations chairs, we allocated $25.7 billion in first year of the biennium and $26.6 in the second year, just to give you some context on the numbers. Now, some big overall highlights. We have got the savings reserve to the statutory requirement, $2.8 billion, by the end of the biennium. You will see in the budget a 5% raise for most state employees over the biennium, a 7% raise for our community college faculty, and a 4% raise for non-faculty over the biennium. Public school teachers will receive a cumulative 5.5 average because we adjusted the teacher scale dealing with those sections of the scale, years 15 through 24, that are stagnant, they're flat, and we're having salary compression. So we're going to see growth in those areas to where we have a teacher scale that actually sees growth from beginning all the way up through year 25. 7% average salary increase for our correctional officers. We actually created a new pay scale for them to where they can see growth too, to try to retain our folks working in the prisons. The retirees will receive 2 one-time bonuses of 2% each year of the biennium. On the tax front, we're reducing the personal income tax from 5.25 to 4.99 starting next year. Community college experienced a lot of enrollment loss because of COVID. It's very strange. Normally in a bad economy, you see community college enrollment go up. In this case, it went down. So we're using some of the federal money to backfill them at $80 million. We also are including increases to the Farmland Preservation Trust to where more of those projects that are accepted on the list can be done, of $27 million. To help our small non-profit arts organizations across the state, between federal money and state money, we're putting $22 million into Arts Council grassroots funding, which that filters across the state to all of these small organizations. We are putting $15 million towards rapid rehousing services and repairs for at-risk families for homelessness. Over $500 million in block grants for child care services. Over $16 million to combat opioid and the opioid crisis. Over $26 million for equipment for our state law enforcement across the state. Almost $1.5 million to combat human trafficking. $8 million in grants for rural local emergency management offices. $800 million for disaster-related projects. $16.8 billion is injected into NCDOT to fast-track road projects, deal with road projects that are needed. Also, we really focused on repairs of the roads and maintenance and even pothole repair. We created a new fund for that. $240 million for trash collection and roadside beautification going to DOT to clean up the roads. They got really bad during COVID, and we had a lot of complaints to the office about it. This should help. We're also creating a pilot where local sheriffs can utilize the prisoners in the jail to pick up trash along the road. This will be a pilot project, and we're funding that at $100 million. And then we have $750 million for the GREAT program. Our goal is to expand rural broadband across the state, and this is another injection to try to reach that goal. There's much, much, much more in this budget. These are just some real high-level highlights. Go to jeffreyelmore.com, and you can see a very detailed budget highlight. It's a 33-page document to show you all the highlights in the different areas. Now I want to talk a little bit about the actual district projects. To go through some of those highlights, we have over $1 million for Alexander County for their water and infrastructure project in the industrial park. We have $3.6 million for Alexander County for their water and sewer projects in Bethlehem community. $630,000 for Alexander Central High School tennis and track repairs. We have $1.2 million for the town of Taylorsville for 2 water and sewer projects. Their water and sewer system supplies the prison. $500,000 for the town of North Wilkesboro for their water tower project in the industrial park. $400,000 for the town of Wilkesboro for the bridge repair at Woodfield to where they can pay that part and get that accomplished. $350,000 for the Wilkes Community Commons bathrooms at the Commons to work on the public bathrooms there. Now they're using porta potties. $500,000 to improve the shoulder. Upgrades on the line at Surrey and Wilkes there at the intersection at West End Elkin to help there. $6 million for Wilkes County Schools for the Mount Pleasant School construction. This is enough money to cover that whole project, from the new building that they need to the repairs on the current buildings. This funds the entire project. Also, $5 million for Wilkes Central High School repairs and renovations. $2.5 million for Wilkes County Schools athletic facilities. These funds will go to help with bleachers, tennis court repairs. There was a list that I was given from the system, and all of that would be covered. $5.5 million for Wilkes Community College for new construction and repairs to their buildings. $8.6 million for Catawba Valley Community College for new construction and repair on their buildings. $100,000 reoccurring to develop a Department of Insurance Northwest Regional Office. $50,000 to the town of North Wilkesboro for farmers market improvements. $140,000 for Wildlife Resource Commission, the Wilkesboro storage facility for expansion there. We also got an appropriation of $500,000 for Wilkes Recovery Revolution. This is a nonprofit that helps folks with substance abuse issues here in North Wilkesboro. Part of the motorsports relief package that we put forth, which totals $51 million, we have $21 million dedicated for infrastructure and water and sewer improvements for the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Also, we included over $3 million to create the new Rendezvous Mountain State Park. The original vision of that property up there was from the Daughters of the American Revolution. They acquired the property and donated it to the state for an establishment of a state park. That never happened over time. That happened back in the 1920s. Now it will become a state park. It will actually be an annex of Stone Mountain State Park. We got over $3 million to make that happen, and also the reoccurring funds for the staffing for the new state park. Very excited about that. $100,000 for the Blue Ridge Opportunity Commission, and also $250,000 for Samaritan's Purse for their relief efforts. So the budget totals, just for District 94, total over $60 million in appropriations. Very excited because much of these projects are much needed for our community. As I said, if you want more detailed information about the budget, visit jeffreyelmore.com, and I appreciate sharing with you the weekly session update.